Good morning, everyone, and thank you all so much for taking the time to attend today's NCSE Research Conference. A conference that is deeply rooted in informing and improving special education practice right across this country. It is precisely this question of how best to link research, policy, and operational practice in supporting special education right across the state that has remained steadfast on my mind since joining the NCSE 9 months ago. I would thus like to take this brief opportunity now to share my reflections with you on the work of the NCSE over those months and outline pending developments for the organisation. Children are at the heart of everything that we do in the NCSE. We work intensely with all education partners in supporting the delivery of special education that is of the highest quality and where every child and young person feels valued, their voice is sought and heard, and they're actively supported and nurtured to reach their full potential. I am an educationalist at heart. I've been out and about in schools and local communities for the length of my career, and I've seen firsthand in the classrooms, corridors, playgrounds, up and down the length of the country, the high regard that school leaders, their staff and wider communities have for supporting their children with special education needs. I will therefore share with you the inspirational stories of 3 young, incredible young people and their journeys through our education system when I visited Cork recently to meet their families. All of these families have given consent to share their stories. So let's start with John and Karen O'Mahony, who shared their experiences with me of raising their autistic son, Sean. Sean had various experiences of the education system, some good, some not so good, and some less than mediocre. 7 years ago, these experiences drove this family to establish community-based outreach programs for families like theirs in the Cork region. They now support over 1,000 families within the region. Sean is now 17, and this September started a new outreach. He will not be completing his Leaving Cert due to the level of prior knowledge that he will require and the level of anxiety that this would provoke for him. He, however, is a remarkable young man and has set up a business called the Autistic Baker and is already carving out a career for himself in this area. He is making a real, profound and meaningful contribution in a way that builds on his strengths and needs. Sky is a 9-year-old girl who has complex cerebral palsy. Sky is pre-verbal and communicates with eye tracking technology. She was born in Kerry and experienced catastrophic birth trauma. Her parents moved to Cork to enable her to access a highly specialised orthopaedic care clinic and to attend a special school, highly skilled to meet the needs of children like ours. Her parents had only positive things to share about their experiences of education. Sky's parents are building a home for her currently in a rural part of Cork County and would like for their daughter to attend her local school. They very much believe that Sky has made an important contribution to make to society. And having met Sky, one could not leave with the profound, lasting impression that she already has made that crucial contribution to society. I met Laura Hearn, an amazing, articulate 23-year-old young woman with Down syndrome, who works several mornings a week in the Mercy Hospital in Cork. She supports patients coming in for their various appointments, prepares preparations for the medical staff, and is a highly valued member of the team. Laura attended her local primary school and transitioned to a special school from post-primary. She obtained a distinction and leaving certificate applied. Her father was a principal of a local post-primary school and at the time knew that her needs would be best met in a special school placement. Her family are very much involved in the field of dreams and outreach to support children and young people with Down syndrome and their families up to the age of 27. I can confirm with those of you who know the Kevin Costner film of the same title that it was an inspiration for the field. Build it and they will come. And as Ballincollig, they certainly have come, as this field of dreams prepares and provides programs that includes horticulture, life skills and preparation for the life of work for young people with Down syndrome. They have a very high success rate in transitioning young adults out of their programs to the world of work. They embrace a life skills approach that support young people to be active participants and to make a meaningful contribution. As I go about my work within the NCAC and working with senior management colleagues and staff up and down the length of the country, we reflect on the decisions that are made from a research and policy perspective, which impact directly on daily school practice, with families precisely like the O'Mahonys, Skye and Laura being very much on our minds. We have a road to travel and require the time to evolve a system that will steer the system towards ensuring children like these have the same opportunities as their peers. Whatever roles all of us occupy here today, we're all aware of the challenges faced by the families of children with special education needs and those who seek to support them in navigating the education system. This system must ensure that their children access an appropriate education, a need which is, in fact, their right. There are essentially two aspects to navigating the education system: that of securing the initial placement and then the subsequent enhancement of that system to promote the quality of teaching, learning, care and transition experiences for children and pupils. While the vast majority of children with special education needs are supported to attend mainstream classes, some children do require more specialised settings such as the special classes and special school placements. In recent times, and like the Minister, I very much want to acknowledge the presence of Assistant Secretary Martina Mannion, her colleague Hubert Loftus, who've been working very closely with the NCAC in terms of introducing a number of strategic initiatives to plan and prepare for special class and special school places. These initiatives are certainly bearing fruit, with the NCAC having currently sanctioned a total of over 2,500 special classes, with 1,800 places at primary and close on 750 at post-primary. 5 new special schools have already been established in recent times. And not being content with that level of delivery, we've also looked at other means of improving the responsiveness to the demand for special class and special school places. And in recent times, have worked closely again with the department in conducting analysis of our forecasting model. This analysis examined data based on special education provision and student information held by both the NCSE and the department's databases, and has yielded a new comprehensive forecasting model to estimate and predict the demand for special education provision for the next 3 school years in primary and post-primary schools. This forecasting model has also highlighted a demand for additional special school places annually in line with growth rates over recent years. It was Albert Einstein who emphasized that imagination is far more important than knowledge. To raise new questions, new possibilities, to regard old problems from a new angle requires creative imagination and marks real advances in science. The same is very true in terms of special education. And enhancing of the teaching and learning, care and progression, transition experiences within special education will certainly require creative imagination, with new questions again being raised, new possibilities, exciting possibilities being explored, and the same old problems being considered from a new angle. This will require all of us to think outside the box by embedding creativity and innovation in what we do that is reflective of the diverse society we live in, and includes a flexible approach to how we do our business in meeting the needs of children, families, schools and communities precisely where they're at. This will involve progressing a system that meets the education and care needs of children, like I've shared with you, Sean, Skye and Laura, to enable them to attend their local schools in their community. And more importantly, to develop skills for life so that they can transition to a post-school life that is meaningful for them. All of our collective efforts must be student-focused and directed towards supporting the student to develop independence at all levels in their actions with their immediate environment, with their peers and with school life and beyond. This will continue to include promoting student voice, which involves placing the child or young person at the centre of decisions that ultimately affect him or her. Progressive efforts will include embedding a universal design for learning approach in our schools, increasing understanding and empathy among peers of students with disabilities, and mapping students' outcomes that have a whole child approach while focusing on skills for life. There are many schools, many excellent schools in our education system that have already made great inroads in evolving towards providing a more inclusive schooling experience for all their students. Initiatives that focus on attitudes and values that permeate throughout the school system must continue to be promoted, with both factors being key to the OECD's conceptual learning framework for 2030. Values-based practice must be embedded in our schools that focus on ethical practice, where decisions that are made are in the primary interests of a child to develop their independence and widen and broaden their participation. A strengthened, holistic and integrated approach is required that involves the interactions of key agencies that provide supports to students, and certainly within the NCSE, we're always conscious of that in terms of our regional teams, our CNOs, VTs, advisors, therapists, and working closely with our colleagues in NEPS and the Inspectorate and the HSE. Finally, and most importantly, we must remain focused on progressive learning over the span of a student's life as they develop, engage in society as young adults. The current education system has tended to focus on the value of the terminal exams. A profound shift in perspective is very necessary to develop a system that focuses on the student's strengths and needs, where education's focus on skills for life. Every effort must be taken to enable students to develop skills that are meaningful, that will increase students' independence and put them on a pathway that will support them to increase their meaningful participation in society. Over the years, the NCSE has made a unique and profound difference to so many young people's lives and has been of immense support to parents and families on their challenging and testing educational journeys. Reflecting on the profile and delivery of the NCSE over the last decade sheds light on a number of glaring observations for the operational reality of the NCSE. In the last 10 years has seen an 81% increase in SNA numbers, a 40% increase in special education teacher allocations, well over 450% increase in the number of special classes, and the prevalence of autism being doubled with a current estimate of roughly 3.11%. These increases have been driven by a mixture of policy and demographics, but it was remarkable, to say the very least, that throughout all of this change, the number of staff has remained unchanged despite exceptional growth and demand in special education in that time. To compound operational matters, national agencies like the NCSE have become increasingly complex organisational professional entities with emerging complexities on policy, compliance, communication and data reforming fronts. In joining with our chairperson, Joe Hayes, I want to acknowledge the pioneering leadership of Minister Josepha Madigan in securing much additional resources for the NCSE, and this telling investment will leave a lasting, profound change in this country for many years to come. This level of investment will also herald a time of promising leadership for the NCSE as we improve and enhance our services to children and their families. We are very aware within the NCSE that the most important role that leaders perform is in creating and managing culture, and we look forward with confidence in strengthening our current structures and systems and embellishing the skill sets and contributions of our highly talented staff in promoting systemic cultural change. In concluding, I thank each and every one of you for attending the NCSE Research Conference today. The NCSE really looks forward to collaborating with you in your respective roles as we take on and address the various challenges and avail of the immense opportunities in truly transforming the supports provided to special education in this country. Thank you very much indeed.